Guys, I know I say this before every single podcast, but this episode has some especially disturbing content. Like, really, it's out there, man. It's out there. So, listener discretion is advised.
Schizophrenia, a mental disorder characterized by abnormal social behavior and failure to understand what is real. The word schizophrenia roughly translates to splitting the mind. Symptoms include false beliefs, unclear or confused thinking, reduced social engagement and emotional expression, lack of motivation, and hearing voices that others do not hear.
Voices. We used to dream. We used to name stars, tracing futures lying in the dark.
Just listen to us.
They said we'd never last. We say words, but we don't talk anymore.
Please don't be mad.
Tonight we're growing closer and closer to the end.
There can be many voices, or there can be just one singular voice that a schizophrenic person can hear. Many times, that voice has been referred to as the voice of God, or even the voice of the devil, telling the individual to do things, manipulating them, making them see things that are not a reality, making them see demons and monsters on the faces of normal people.
For each other, or fools.
Stop!
Just say when.
Kill them. They all have to die.
They were right.
It's the
But I
only
can't tell
Be mad.
We've been half alive. We've been half alive for way
Please don't be mad. Please don't be mad. Please.
Kill them.
I've got that same sinking feeling again.
Do it for us.
You'll be fine. I swear.
You know it's
They said we'd never last, and they were right.
Kill them.
It'll be okay.
Kill them.
It'll be okay. Yeah?
Kill them.
On August 15th, 1967, the entire world heard of the tiny community of Shell Lake, Saskatchewan. Victor Ernest Hoffman was recently released from a mental hospital. He sensed something inside of him wasn't right, but couldn't stand the thought of going back to the hospital. He stopped taking his medication. He woke up at 3 a.m. the morning of August 15th and could not fall back asleep. He worked in the garage for an hour and then had an urge to stop. He paced up and down and then went and reached for the door. Suddenly, a strange feeling came over the right side of his head. It was as if something had cut his whole body in half and something left him. It wasn't painful. It was more pleasurable. A very powerful urge to kill erupted inside of him, and Victor loaded his .22 rifle and drove. At 6 in the morning, he finds a farmhouse. This was the residence of the Petersons. It was as if the house was drawing him in, because the closer he got to it, the stronger the feeling inside of him grew. Victor enters the house. A strong sense of deja vu envelops him, and he feels like he had been here before. But he had never been in this house. The kitchen was something from a dream he had. It was all so familiar. Victor sees Mr. Peterson sitting on the bed. As he gets up to confront the stranger, Victor shoots him. Mr. Peterson lunges at his attacker and grabs Victor by the neck. But Victor keeps shooting him at least 7 times. But before we go any further, let's trace back to the beginning. So open your eyes and gaze into the abyss as we delve deeper into Canada's Crawlspace.
It's still considered Canada's worst random mass murder. 50 years ago at a farm near Shell Lake, Saskatchewan, Victor Hoffman murdered 9 members of the Peterson family. The diagnosed schizophrenic was recently released from a mental hospital. 6 of Hoffman's victims were children. 4-year-old Phyllis Peterson was the lone survivor, and in one of her only interviews, she recalled the horrific day.
I remember my brother William arguing with him, telling him that he could go out and shoot the cows as opposed to shooting us. And then when the policeman carried me out and he was crying, the policeman was crying, and then I knew that it was really bad.
Hoffman was found not guilty by reason of insanity and committed to a mental institution. Over much controversy, in 1992, Hoffman was granted escorted day passes from the facility before dying of cancer in 2004.
Well, there you go.
My God.
What'd you think of that intro?
That was
awesome.
That was a great intro.
Oh,
In regards to Soylent Green,
oh yeah, that's right. We were talking about that.
have you seen Soylent Green, Sean?
I have not.
No? You have definitely.
I have not. No.
You guys haven't seen Soylent Green?
No, I know it's people though.
It is people, but the whole concept is actually quite interesting in Soylent Green.
It sounds like something you'd like order from a fancy restaurant.
Well, basically the synopsis is that it's a future where poverty is running rampant and job creation is non-existent.
Yeah.
And there's also voluntary euthanasia. When you reach a certain age, you can go into this building and they give you a nice backdrop and they just give you basically toxins, lethal injection.
Oh.
And then you fall asleep, you die, and then they take that body and they process that into Soylent Green. And then they feed that to the people who
Get your vitamins.
yeah, don't have the ability to. It's
What
actually,
the fuck?
but nobody knows where Soylent
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there's Soylent Green and Soylent Brown and all these different protein cubes.
Yeah, yeah.
But Soylent Green is the one that they
One you gotta watch
process.
out for.
Yeah.
It's the one you don't want to.
Or it's the really good stuff.
You guys,
Thing.
I'm shocked you guys haven't seen Soylent Green. That's
No.
such a classic. And Charlton Heston is great in that movie. I have it on DVD.
I should borrow that from you.
Oh.
I can just watch it on Android box. I'm sure. Just stream it.
Pirater.
Hey,
I don't condone illegal activity.
It's not illegal if you're streaming it.
yeah, it's just streaming it.
I said I don't condone it.
Neither do I. All right, so welcome to Canada's Crawlspace. That's here.
We're in it right now.
It's so dark.
It is dark and it smells like Sean.
It smells like me. I'm Sean.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Corey.
And today
I guess.
we're talking about the Shell Lake Massacre. And I want like that audio file said, I wanted to get to this case before the end of the year because August marked 50 years since this tragedy occurred.
I'd like to preface this by saying that I was contacted by 2 people on my Facebook,
Yeah.
both with family that lived in Shell Lake. One of them apparently lived right beside this farmhouse.
Holy crap.
And on the night the murders occurred, apparently a car pulled into their farmyard and sat there for 15 minutes. And the dad had a gun ready and everything like that. And then the car just pulled off. And that was the night that the Peterson murders occurred.
What?
Wow. Like you look at that the day after and go, huh.
Yeah, if that car
Yeah.
might have been Victor Hoffman. Yeah.
Wow, holy shit.
And then another one had family living close by. And then that night they had the recall having the grandpa outside with his shotgun.
Yeah, there's people
all night.
on high alert
Yeah.
that night.
No doubt. Well, especially nobody's been caught at that point yet. So you're
No,
like,
exactly.
Who did this?
Yeah.
Who could
So
do
basically
it again?
everybody, yeah, once that occurred was guns
Your
guns
guns.
out.
Get your guns out.
Rightfully so, though.
Yeah.
We gonna get them.
Yeah. They're not wrong. I'd feel the same
Is
way.
that-
Is that the Saskatchewan accent?
Is that your Eminem doing a southern accent impression?
No, that's what I think of like Canada prairies. And yet no one around here talks like that.
Well, we are Canadian prairies.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Nobody around here talks like that. And yet that's
So what would give you
I have no
thought?
clue.
He's
The
just
bu-
going hillbilly
Well,
there.
Yeah, the fact that Saskatchewan's like right in the middle of the Bible Belt of Canada.
Yeah.
Well, we're all small town is what we are.
Yeah.
Like even Saskatoon, it's small town comparatively.
It is, you're right.
Oh yeah.
Well, the biggest city in Saskatchewan is smaller than like the smallest suburb in Ontario, essentially. So
Oh yeah.
don't quote me on that, but probably.
I heard that Calgary has the same footprint on a map as New York with like 1/10 the population.
Yeah, I could see that.
Way more high rises in New York.
Oh yeah. I didn't know. I don't know where I even heard that, but I heard it somewhere.
Also, don't quote him on that.
Yeah, many years ago I heard it. If it was in high school, it's probably not right.
No.
All right, let's talk about Shell Lake a little bit. The population back then, or as of 2016, is 175 people. But back then, the
metropolis.
Yeah. Back then, the community was probably around 175. Or, I mean, 250. It was 75 more.
Would that make it a village or a hamlet?
It'd be a village at that point.
Yeah,
still.
they mentioned village a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think it's under 100 as a hamlet.
Okay.
I think.
I went to a wedding just outside of Calgary one time where there was, I think, like 23 people that still lived in the town.
Woo-wee.
So its biggest night was that wedding.
Our population just quadrupled, or probably
yeah.
more.
According to a tourism website, the village of Shell Lake is a recreational paradise for the whole family. Adjacent to the village is Memorial Lake Regional Park, which includes an 18-hole grass greens golf course. And the third weekend in July is the annual Hay Days weekend, which seems like a little state's fair sort of thing, but in Canada. Is it just called a fair then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Provincial fair?
Provincial. I don't know. Okay, so this case is about Victor Ernest Hoffman. He was born in 1946 near Leask, Saskatchewan. My S's are real bad, and this is going to make it much worse, having to say Leask.
Perfect. I'm excited.
And that's around 55 kilometers from Shell Lake.
They have a wonderful butcher shop there where they make amazing jerky.
In Leask?
Yeah. Sprigs.
Like beef jerky, deer jerky, bison jerky.
I think it's deer jerky. It doesn't look dark enough to be beef jerky. It's fucking amazing. They have like 8 different flavors. It's
Have you had bison jerky?
I don't think I have.
Oh, it's amazing.
I don't think I've ever had that either.
Lamb jerky is the best jerky I've ever had.
Oh, lamb. You know what lamb tastes like? Like
awesome.
Shoving a day-old sock in your mouth and then just
you're so wrong.
And just absorbing the essence of a day-old sock.
Bring the microphone just up a bit. No. You don't have to bring it closer, just up a little bit more. So then you don't have to, be crouched down.
You've got to try lamb jerky. You'll change your tune.
I don't know, lamb. Do you like lamb?
I do. Like when I get a donair, it's always the lamb donair.
See, that's probably. See, I don't like lamb. How do you feel about lamb, Sean?
I've never really had lamb.
Oh, it's so bad.
I don't think so. I can't remember.
We're at an impasse here, I guess.
I can't be the tiebreaker. I'm sorry, guys. Where am I? Oh, yeah. The Hoffmans were an ordinary family. They were devout Lutherans. His father was German and his mother was Ukrainian. Like many farmers in Saskatchewan at this time, they practiced mixed farming, which was growing hay and raising cattle. They kept Sunday holy for attending church and practicing their faith. They felt that everyone in the district was a friend.
That's why he went out of the district, apparently.
Maybe, yeah. According to his parents, Victor was an excellent farmer, a hard worker, and a responsible person. He seemed no different to them than their other children. He began going to school when he was 6, but had to repeat the 3rd and 9th grades. He was reserved and kind of a loner, but had one close friend and would attend the Lutheran church to please his father.
At least he had a friend.
Yeah.
A lot of good that did him.
He was 21. Maybe that friend had moved on.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, Victor went right up to grade 9. If anyone were on the mental side of life, he would not be able to take grade 9. The principal one day, something happened there, He started to play hooky when he got to be in grade 9, and I guess something was going wrong. The principal asked why Victor wasn't coming to school. We talked for a while, and he'd have no trouble going right up to grade 12, but then something went wrong. As far as being smart, he was just as smart as the rest of the boys. He used to work here and fix bicycles for our neighbors' boys, and what they couldn't do, he could. But the police and the detectives, they had it written that ever since childhood he was on the mental side. He was not. He farmed on the other farm there. It is very awkward to put in a crop, It's got bends and crooks. He figured it all out himself, and he did it just a couple of weeks before all this happened, and that was in spring. He made a wonderful job putting in the crop. If there had been something wrong with a person, he couldn't do it. There were about 3 weeks when I knew there was something badly wrong. He got worse and worse, and finally, we took him to Prince Albert. It was the first time we had taken him to a doctor for mental illness. When the police came to arrest him, I was surprised. When I thought, if the boy had done that, it's no more than right. But then I didn't want to see a thing like that happen. But it did happen. That poor boy. I guess he called for help. I guess he didn't know which way to turn.
Those are apparently like direct quotes. I have no clue what that middle one means.
No,
exactly.
We'll have to discuss that. So that
remember what the quote is?
So that was a direct quote from the father.
Apparently, yeah.
That if he had done that, it was no more than right.
Yeah.
That he's going to prison, or that he's getting taken away. I think that he's going to prison.
That it was no more than
Okay.
right.
I think that's what I meant.
I thought like the act of him doing it was like, it's no more than right.
Because he was talking. I guess I probably should. I didn't want to put like a narration in that one as well. But I guess I could have said something about. He was talking about the police being there and whatnot.
Gotcha.
A little bit of background there.
I thought he was justifying his son's actions. I was like, maybe arrest him too.
Yeah,
That's where he learned it from.
apple doesn't
I learned
fall
it from
far.
you. All right. Victor Hoffman had been a schizophrenic for most of his life. He told a psychiatrist that he first saw the devil when he was 6 years old. He described it as a creature 6 feet tall, black as night, and with a long tail. He felt like he was being seduced by Satan and God, darkness and light. Tapping and drumming sounds that would get faster and faster often woke him at night. You guys don't experience anything like that, do you?
Didn't he also state that Satan had no genitalia? Was that something that he stated?
I didn't read what I read, but I mean, there's a lot of things that I couldn't find. Like, I have a friend at work who was mentioning there was a lot more to do with the murder part, like more grotesque things that actually happened.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anything like that online.
I didn't find anything like that, but I also read the lack of genitalia part
I
too.
recall reading about that at one point.
All right, so he had no dick. The devil with no dick. There we go. That's better.
Metal band name there.
Why do you think he's so evil?
Who?
The devil.
Oh, because he's got no dick. Yeah, makes sense.
Can't come.
Can't come. Oh shit. Okay, so not every person with schizophrenia has an urge to kill or harm others, but around 10 years old, Victor began fighting back daily impulses to kill. It would be the first thing that would come to him when meeting strangers.
Yeah, great.
His parents had no clue about this because Victor hid these feelings from them.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Not something you want to talk about too much, probably.
Yeah. He didn't discuss any problems with his parents. Eventually, he turned these violent impulses towards animals and started torturing cats.
Another cat killer.
Yeah, it's going to be a common thing with all sociopaths, psychopaths. What's the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath?
A psychopath is completely fucking insane, and a sociopath is incredibly narcissistic and
Devoid of emotion?
yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to expand on that, Jesse?
No. You did a great job.
Yeah. Okay. One time, a cat had stumbled into a magpie trap, and Victor threw it into the smokehouse and left it there for 3 weeks. But then took it out and let it go because he felt sorry for it.
3 weeks later.
Yeah, 3 weeks later. Although he felt sorry for that cat, he continued to, quote, club cats, stomp on them, and hurt them. He would kill he would kill dolls.
I wish he would have.
He would kill dogs, and he enjoyed hunting wild game. Killing animals made him happy, quote, like it makes any sportsman happy. There was one time that he beat up a young boy. The boy never told his parents, I'm sure because Victor threatened him not to do so. Apparently, he killed all the squirrels in the area. Like hundreds of them.
Busy boy.
Yeah. Victor later told psychiatrists they were, quote, nice little tan squirrels. So now I'm going to go over some of his interactions with the devil and angels inside of him. One morning, while eating breakfast, Victor heard the devil calling him outside. So he goes out and sees a man around 6'6" who weighed 300 pounds and looked like a pig.
Like the nose and tail, do you think? Or just
I don't know.
big fat dude?
What I picture is, I guess you could picture, I just picture like, I pictured a tall guy because of his other description of the devil.
You know who I picture?
But just with a, what?
Gannon.
Gannon? There you go, yeah. He was a big fat pig. That makes sense.
He's also a bunny, though, too.
Did this case, what's it called? Inspired Legend of Zelda?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Japanese
or
were into
the
it.
enemy?
Yeah, the Japanese follow us closely.
Like at the time, there wasn't anything like this, so like everybody had heard about it. It got around like everywhere.
That's true.
Yeah.
What did make Gannon into a big fat pig?
I don't know. The devil tempted Victor with wealth, and all Victor had to do was bow to him. At first, he didn't want to do it, but then knelt on one knee, thinking this would let him become just half rich.
I got around this, devil.
Yeah, the science is there, you know. However, Victor never became rich, and he blamed it on him not kneeling the way the devil wanted him to kneel.
See, back then, when you knelt, it was a sign of respect.
Oh, yeah.
But now when you kneel, it's the exact opposite. So now would you stand for the devil, or would you still be accepted?
I think people were
When
were
did-
bowing
why is
to
kneeling-
to kings and
Well,
stuff.
look at the kneeling for the anthem being as a sign of disrespect.
Yeah, that's
for
crazy.
the anthem. Whereas kneeling used to be like far more respectful than standing.
You'd have to kneel to get knighted and whatnot.
Yeah, like how is kneeling not more respectful than?
You took a knee for the king when you're on his side.
I feel like if you're kneeling for anything, that's a much better sign of respect.
Well, you're
should
putting
be.
yourself below them and
Exactly.
lifting them up. Sort
Exactly.
Of. So,
Yeah, but then everybody made the whole somebody created having to stand for the anthem, right?
Which
So
is fucking, everybody should kneel for the anthem.
that's
from
what it should
now
be.
You don't have room in those
Everybody
stadium seating to kneel,
protest!
though.
Everybody protest!
If everybody's not kneeling for the Canadian anthem at the next Rough Riders game, that's a sign of disrespect, and I don't like it.
Foot has come down.
Do you like the Rough Riders?
No, I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
I've never seen a game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched a full football game.
But I can tell you that anybody with a Riders Pride license plate is guaranteed to be old and drive like shit.
Yeah, I can see it.
Just pay attention. Every time
I'm
you see
going
a
to
rider's
now.
license plate and they're driving super slow, or they're in the wrong lane, or they're swerving, you'll know why.
They have an R in their
Yeah.
license plate.
Yeah,
All right.
pride lives here.
Pride. Okay. He would also see cold, disembodied hands floating across the room.
Cousin It?
They would then float over
No,
to him.
Thing. Sorry to interrupt.
Thing, yes. They would then float over to him and touch him on the neck and body, and apparently these hands visited him several times.
Especially during his
Does anybody-
teenage years.
Yeah, I was going to say, anybody just think he was jerking off? And the devil had one day helped Victor pick berries, but was not very good at it. He, quote, pulled the vines off the berries.
That was just him blaming the devil for doing a shitty job. Mom beat me. It was the devil that did it.
I swear it was the devil, Mom. Around the same time, Victor also began seeing angels. He said they looked like human beings, were dressed like women, and often talked to him. The angels didn't appear as often as the devil.
They also didn't have penises.
No,
Everything
was completely devoid of genitalia.
Guardian angel once tried to protect him, and told him many times that he must not kill cows.
That's fair.
How do you get a hamburger, though?
But if he's just going out killing cows, though, for no reason,
Okay, true.
I don't know. There was no other background on that.
Well, knowing Victor's past at this point, I think we can safely assume he just killed the
killed
cows.
The devil attacked this angel once, and Victor found himself with a sword in his hand and began attacking another smaller female angel. He's on the fucking devil's side.
Definitely.
The devil continued to pursue him and kept asking him to sell his soul. He threatened him that if he didn't follow his advice, he would die 1,000,000 times in his life. God and the angels promised he would go to heaven only if he caught the devil and killed him.
How do you die 1,000,000 times in your life?
don't know.
You think you die once and you're done.
Well, maybe his eternal soul.
Yeah.
That would probably be.
But
if he doesn't sell his soul to the devil, then he's
Or maybe he's just going to get hurt like 1,000,000 times and almost die.
Like a million paper cuts?
Oh,
That would suck. That would suck. Around 1964, 18-year-old Victor Hoffman did catch the devil, but said he let him go due to the putrid smell the devil gave off.
it was Willie Picton.
Yeah.
He caught Willie Picton.
Pork chop Rob.
I got you.
Oh, you stink.
At 19, the devil was floating around in the air and Victor tried to shoot it.
Join the side of the angels now.
Yeah.
How come his life sounds so much cooler than ours? I feel like
Yeah.
life is so mundane, and this guy is just.
He's got these like epic. It's crazy. He's got crazy things going on in his head.
Had he just left it there and just stayed in his own world,
Yeah.
then that would have been the place to be. Like,
Just keep guns away from him.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the devil had magic. Did you know that?
Did he? Did he have magic
He did at one point.
in the story or in
Until Victor threw a net over him and took his magic
I was
away.
like, where are you?
But a guardian devil gave him his powers back. There are guardian devils and guardian angels.
devils as
That's
well.
a new one. I didn't know that. Makes sense, I guess.
Victor describes being in a Street Fighter-esque battle with both the devil and the guardian devil. He said he was thrown down from behind with some devil judo moves.
Did he actually
He used
describe
the
it as
word-
devil judo?
No, I said that, but he did use the word judo in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like he flipped him over top of him.
Got some
like.
sweet moves, that
Yeah.
devil.
Victor's schoolwork suffered because he couldn't study, likely due to the voices and epic angel and devil battles that were happening. He wasn't interested in anything except hunting and playing. At home, he was quiet and withdrawn. Near the end of May 1967, he began talking in circles and suddenly started forgetting things. On the morning of May 27th, his mother was in the kitchen making breakfast. She hears 2 gunshots and goes out to Victor. As she gets closer to him, Victor fires the gun again, looks at her and says, "I shot the devil!" She pleads with him to hand over the gun, and he does. She keeps the .303 rifle in her room. He then takes the car and drives away. After the incident with the gun, the Hoffmans hide all the other guns in the house.
Fair enough.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
choice. 30 minutes later, Victor comes home and asks where the guns are. He is told he can't have them and says, "Nobody will get hurt. Just trust me."
Gonna be fine. I just shoot the devil.
And then he leaves again. He comes back in shortly and says he wanted to speak with Pastor Post. That afternoon, the pastor comes to see him. They speak in a different room, and Mrs. Hoffman couldn't hear what they were talking about. But as Pastor Post is leaving, him and Victor were standing by his car talking, and she heard Victor say, "I'd like to kill Mom." The next day, the Hoffmans made arrangements to have Victor committed to the Saskatchewan Hospital in North Battleford.
No,
Probably a great
no.
idea.
How would you like hearing that?
Yeah.
Liam comes home. I'd like to kill Dad. Ah!
No, thanks. You're going to a mental institution. At the mental health clinic, Victor was found to be, quote, schizoid, or in the state of acute schizophrenic reaction, by a psychiatrist from Prince Albert. So he needed to be hospitalized. A report stated Victor had recently become more disturbed when driving his car up and down the road for no reason. He promised to sign himself in voluntarily as a patient and was admitted May 29th, 1967. According to his hospital records, Victor was very sick, physically and mentally. He complained about being unable to work. He would periodically talk and laugh to himself.
He was just listening to podcasts. It was okay.
He became concerned whether he was a boy or perhaps half girl. At one point, God had told him he could go to heaven, and he said he had stomach cramps and burning sensations all the time. This guy's life is just not... He's where he needs to be, though, at least.
Yeah,
At this
now,
point.
yeah, for this time being.
Although appearing as withdrawn and indifferent, Victor was cooperative during examinations. He would give very short answers and typically had to be prompted to answer. He stated that he wasn't able to get along with any of his family members. He said his brothers and sisters were never able to understand him.
I wonder why.
Yeah. More than once, Victor says he mentioned seeing the devil to them, but they would just laugh at him. You know, those are like cries for help right there.
Yeah, but you would, like, if
But,
I heard
yeah.
that as a kid, I'd be like, that kid's just crazy. But
Yeah.
I like to point out
Weirdo.
that you said he had very short answers, but according to the script,
Okay.
Sean.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good at knowing
Self-editing?
Yeah, self-editing as I go. Yeah.
So was it?
I literally threw this one together like today. I finished it.
It's very good.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it's from that one. I'm gonna send a link with it, but that one PDF file that I sent you.
Yes, that essay.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't easy finding a bunch of information on this case.
That was the only thing, and that was from like 1973.
I don't think there's even a proper documentary on this case, is there?
No,
Not
I doubt
that I
it.
could
I
see.
don't think so. Not on YouTube, anyways.
No.
There's not even a Fifth Estate about it or anything like
No.
that. Victor's mind was preoccupied with sex, and he masturbated every day. But who doesn't? He was weak and very fatigued.
That's because he masturbated every day.
And would barely be able to get any sleep at night. He told doctors how he had always been cruel to cats and dogs and would kill them regularly. He killed them because he said there were too many in the world.
Not squirrels, though. He
No, he
took care of that.
All the squirrels. Victor told them all about seeing the devil and the things they would talk about, but the doctors played this off as illusions. He told them he was able to touch the devil and the angels, and that one time while fighting a female angel, he even took her blouse off. As the days went by, he realized that he was never going to get out of there if he kept talking about devils and angels.
He wasn't that crazy.
He was self-aware. Victor was diagnosed as schizophrenic disorder, chronic with uncontrolled symptoms and severe social handicaps. They started pumping a series of 12 ECT, a type of tranquilizers, into Victor as medication. He began improving after the second ECT treatment. He started coming out of his head and was less withdrawn, but was still delusional and preoccupied with sex. Victor said he felt happy because he had stopped masturbating. Huh?
I've actually heard about that, the no fap movement. Where
No fap?
Yeah, where people just completely remove themselves from any act of masturbation and apparently improve mentally, physically, less fatigued.
Oh, maybe I should try that. I'm
Yeah.
trying all the time. I'm struggling with something I wrote even. I need to not masturbate. That's the problem.
Put it away right now, Sean.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, guys. We're all friends here. The doctors kept up with the ECTs, and after the fifth one, he was more cooperative and sociable, and began thinking back on all those times he spent with the devil. The talks they had, the Street Fighter judo matches, the epic sword battles, and all those times he told the devil that he can't buy his soul. Well, he says, okay, maybe these were just my imagination. And although coming around on the whole devil and angel thing, he still believed that he had magic powers.
So, what magic powers did he have? Do we know?
No, not really.
The power to get angels to take their blouses off.
It's an important one.
Yeah.
Sword creation, like all this sword fighting. Did he actually own a sword? Like
No, so he would have just
you would have
appear.
seen him. It would have appeared that he was just like standing in a field.
But I can just like,
Air thrusting.
Yeah,
I have the power.
maybe a stick. Maybe like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
I probably played with a stick as a sword till I was way too old.
Oh, I definitely.
Definitely 14 or something like that. I was still.
But did you fight the devil doing it?
I wasn't fighting the devil though. Well, maybe I did, but it wasn't like I didn't see the devil there.
Yeah,
really.
you just like, hey, take this, devil, and then.
On guard.
But usually you had a friend that played the devil or like a tree or something. But
Sometimes.
this guy just fought his own mind.
Yeah. There wasn't much change between the 5th and 9th ECT, but when his father visited him, he claimed that Victor was back to his old self. When the 12th and final ECT was administered, he still appeared doubtful about all those crazy times he had with the devil and angels. He always felt that the black devil was always
racist.
With him. That's what it said. And he described it as that. He was always with him, waiting for the perfect opportunity to catch and destroy him. But later on, Victor recalled lying and saying that the visions of the devil were just his imagination, when in reality, Victor believed he had never felt so clear in his mind about them. He figured with this realization, he was ready to go home and enjoy life better, because he now was not scared at all.
Huh.
That makes sense, right?
Well, it does, because he's not afraid of the devil, maybe?
I guess, yeah. So
Just like, you have no power over me, you're still there.
yeah. He stayed cooperative, pleasant, and sociable, but still withdrew inside himself at times. He felt like he was free of the devil and was very happy about it. But Victor still had a thirst for killing. He would imagine his brothers being dead and how he would kill his sisters and parents.
He pictured himself killing his classmates at school, and he told this all to a psychiatrist at the hospital. He even mentioned that he would think of all of this stuff, and it's not even because he hates any of them. It's just killing for the sake of killing.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. He once told another patient that he was going to kill someone for no reason. Mr. Hoffman was told that Victor was schizophrenic, but was described as not too bad. Not too bad. Little bit schizophrenic.
Well, the schizophrenic isn't even the bad
I know.
part. It's the I want to kill just to kill.
The psychosis? Yeah.
The doctors told him that he should be as good as ever in a year or two, and then Victor was discharged. Well, doped right up on tranquilizers on July 26th, 1967. 2 months after being admitted.
Holy.
So, like, when they told... I'm pretty sure when they told him it was going to take a year or two, he was supposed to stay in the hospital. But they let him go 2 months later.
How are they planning on a year or two curing him of mental illness?
Tranquilizers, you just keep him doped up.
And then hope he dies? Or
I guess.
Maybe he'll OD. Yeah.
I don't think medicine just fucking fixes that unless you were to lobotomize him, maybe.
Yeah. But. So his parents tried everything they could to keep up with Victor's medication, but he constantly complained that the pills made his back ache.
Oh, poor Victor.
He slept a lot more than what was normal, and his parents let him sleep, hoping it would help him return to normal, being all rested up.
So
he's just tired.
Given the choice between seeing a tall, dickless black devil and angels having a sword fight and judo chop, fucking
judo chop,
all these apparitions coming at you, or having a sore back, what would you choose?
I'm gonna go with the epic battles. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I love Supernatural. It's one of my favorite shows.
My back's always sore, so I would just take the sore back and not deal with all of that.
Yeah, the knowing that you want to kill, and he knows that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want the urges to kill though.
Well, you're getting the urges to kill.
Okay, so I have to take that too then.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting all of it.
You can't just get the cool shit.
All right. Then I'll take
sore back.
It seems like
we'll have a sore back.
But I guess that's part of the mental illness too, like the inability to take your meds because you feel like you don't need them until it's too late.
Yeah. A lot of people stop taking them because they think they're better, when in reality they're better because of the pills.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Now I can stop because everything's changed now.
A couple days or a week later or something like that.
Yeah, and you're on a bus eating a kid's face.
It's another one we gotta talk about sometime.
I think we brought that up in the past podcast as well. It's a recurring theme with
cannibalism seems to be for us.
Yeah. Well, it's always pretty fascinating when a person is driven to eat another human being through sheer fucking batshit crazy.
Or just curiosity.
Wow.
Well, that's how it's going to happen for us.
Yeah. Victor knew something was going to happen to him. He felt it as soon as he got home from the hospital. Apparently, another patient had told him that he would commit murder 3 weeks after being released. This patient was a younger boy, and Victor figured he must have had visions. He thinks, well, I have a lot of visions. I remember things happening before they happened. It's like reading the future. Victor would often lose himself in daydreams and dreams at night of killing people.
So always on his mind killing people.
Always.
So yeah, it was going to happen.
Victor was needed for the farm work, but ever since coming out of the hospital, he was just way too weak. Around August 8th, Victor completely stopped taking his medication. For 3 days after, he felt fine, but on August 11th, he had a feeling that come that Friday, something was going to happen. He felt like he would be going to jail or a mental hospital again. And he did not want to go to a mental hospital again. That was the worst thing for him.
That turned out well for him.
Yeah. He began constantly imagining himself killing someone. He thought about killing his brother, like he had countless times in the past. On Saturday, August 12th, the thought of killing was particularly strong. He thought if he could kill, he would show the devil he was on his side, and that would bring him closer to the devil. He is doing everything just for the devil now.
Too much fucking Motley Crue.
Don't put that shit on. If you play that backwards, you can hear the devil.
Victor spent almost all of August 14th on the tractor, and it was just a typical quiet day. That night, he falls asleep on the couch around 9:30, and his parents wake him up at 11:30 and send him to bed. He quickly falls asleep, but not for long. He wakes up at 3 to piss outside and comes back to the couch to sleep. But sleep wouldn't come to him as he began imagining things. Since he can't see,
Sleep.
Since he can't...
Mom, Dad, I'm blind. I'm going to go kill some people.
I have to start fucking proofreading better. Since he can't sleep, he goes out to work in the garage. As he's walking, he sees a dog and immediately has an impulse to kill it, but decides not to. He works in the garage for about an hour and finds that he cannot work anymore. The next little bit is what I described in the intro, so we're going to skip to where Victor gasses up his car, throws his .22 rifle into the back seat, and drives off into the darkness.
Victor didn't know where he was going. All he knew was that he had to kill. He saw a hawk swoop down and land on a pole. Victor thought about stopping and shooting it, but was impulsed to keep driving. The road seemed endless as he passed farmhouse after farmhouse. Every one he passed seemed to heighten the urges inside of him. As dawn began cascading its morning shadows onto the land, Victor pulls into the driveway of a white farmhouse. He sees the tall, black figure of the devil standing by the house. This looked familiar to him. He had seen this place in a vision. James and Evelyn Peterson sat on the edge of their bed as they began preparing for the day. Larry, their baby, was in his mother's arms breastfeeding. They hear a car approaching and tires skidding to a halt on their driveway and a car door slamming shut. James calls out, "Who is it?" Victor stands in front of the Peterson residence with his .22 caliber pump-action rifle in his hands. He goes up and bursts through the front door. James Peterson gets up and, noticing the gun, runs towards him, trying to protect his family from the intruder. Victor fires 4 bullets into James's stomach. James goes down and Victor steps into the house. The once quiet farmhouse erupts into screams coming from all directions. In one room, 6 children huddled together. 13-year-old Mary, 9-year-old Pearl, Jean, 17, William, 5, Phyllis, 4, and 2-year-old Colin. As James Peterson lay dying on the kitchen floor, his wife Evelyn remained in her room clutching tightly to baby Larry. Victor fires 3 more times into James. He steps over his lifeless body to where 11-year-old Dorothy was, who slept on a cot in the family room. Dorothy screamed and closed her eyes as Victor pointed the rifle to her head and pulled the trigger. Victor's head twitches and he notices the bedroom with the 6 children huddled together and stomps over. One of the children screamed, "Don't shoot me, I don't want to die." Victor stared at the children. To him, they didn't look like people. They all looked like pigs. And he figured, I've already committed murder. Why would I stop now? The children pleaded with him, but their cries fell on deaf ears as Victor begins to fire into their faces at point-blank range. Blood spattered across the walls of the room as each child fell lifeless to the floor. Victor didn't see 4-year-old Phyllis, who was hiding under the bedsheets. A commotion comes from the opposite bedroom as Evelyn escapes through the window while holding the baby. She just makes it out when Victor hears her. He races after them, giving chase out the window. He fires 4 shots at Evelyn, dropping her to the cold, rocky gravel. Victor goes back into the bedroom where the children were to make sure they are all dead. He fires a few more rounds into their dead bodies. He suddenly sees 4-year-old Phyllis, who was now cowering between the bodies of 2 of her sisters. Victor stared at Phyllis. She didn't look like a pig to him. She looked like an angel, so he decided to spare her. As he turns back into the living room, he hears the cries of a baby coming from outside. Baby Larry lay crying in the arms of his deceased mother. Victor thought to himself, "What will happen to that baby? I don't want the baby to suffer."
What do you guys think? Too much?
That's pretty chilling, man.
That is chilling. It's not too much. I mean,
No.
it
Well done.
encapsulates the entire scene well.
Ryan helped me out with that. He's the one that convinced me to throw the baby voice in there, which is what I was already thinking, or the baby cry. I was already thinking, it's just I didn't know, because when I did it and I listened, I was like, this is fucking crazy now. It added so much more life to it.
It does. It
Yeah.
really does. And I mean, you can't sugarcoat anything. That's
No.
what happened, right?
Yeah. I also want to say that Phyllis, like, they think that she was actually just hiding
I've heard conflicting reports
hiding
on
behind or between her sisters.
and that he didn't see her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was under the bed sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he later said that he spared her because she looked like an angel. That's what he said.
Yeah.
But he'd fought angels before. If he was going for the devil, you'd think that
That's
would've-
exactly.
Exactly, yeah. It's back and forth with him.
I'm
He doesn't know
thinking-
whose side he's on.
I'm thinking maybe he's just fucking insane.
He's like Kenny from that one in South Park where he's up in heaven and he's playing the fucking PSP or whatever.
Oh yes, yeah.
He's controlling all of God's army. All right, so Victor felt like he would hate himself for it later, but decided to shoot the baby. Victor looks back at the house and gets a sudden feeling of deja vu. All of this had happened in a dream before. Panic swept over him as he started looking for bullet casings from his rifle. He finds 17 and puts them in his pocket. So this farmhouse was right outside of Shell Lake. This was the first time Victor had even been to this community. He drove home feeling queasy and thinking he would have to shoot himself. Victor arrived home around 7:30 a.m. and got scolded by his parents for being up and driving around this early.
What are you doing, Victor?
Why are you doing that? He told them he was at the other farm. Victor still felt sick at the time while killing these 9 people. He didn't think it was wrong. Mostly he was scared of the law, scared of getting in trouble and going to jail or back to the hospital. Victor attempted to do chores but couldn't get his mind off of the murders. He felt too guilty to even be able to eat breakfast. He paced around. I've been that guilty before. Not but from murdering people, but from stealing Pokemon cards in grade 8.
You're the worst.
Couldn't eat that day.
Mom, I can't even eat breakfast. I stole somebody's Doug Trio, and now they can't even fight.
He paced around outside and felt scared. He knew that the killing impulse was, quote, cured and he would never have to kill again.
Well,
Just
if
like
that's
that.
all it takes.
That's all it takes.
If we each just kill 9 people, we'll be okay.
Yeah, there was a time when he was younger and he broke into a store in Leask and stole a gun and felt cured of the stealing impulse he was having.
Oh, shit.
Did he steal anything after
So
that?
he just has to learn his lesson from making mistakes first. He's got to do the bad thing.
Some people have to make their own mistakes,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Okay, let's go back now to that morning, right after the murders. Mr. Peterson had a neighbor coming by that morning to help with some of the farm work at 9 a.m. W.J. Lane arrived, or was that Lange?
I think that's Lange.
Lange. W.J. Lange arrived on the Peterson farm at that time. He waited around a bit and figured that James Peterson must have slept in. Mr. Lange decided to open the door, and he was going to kid Mr. Peterson for not being awake yet. As Mr. Lange opens the door to the farmhouse, he immediately sees the body of James Peterson in the middle of the kitchen.
Joke's on you.
Oh, jeez. Blood was splattered all over the house. Mr. Lange gets in the vehicle and drives to the nearest phone about 7 kilometers away and calls the RCMP. When they arrive on scene, Corporal Barry Richards of the Spiritwood RCMP detachment is welcomed by the most gruesome scene he had ever laid his eyes on.
I don't know. Welcomed is the right word there.
I was going back and forth, but I didn't know what else to put there. It just sounded sounded good. He found the bodies of the Peterson family in their beds, one girl with both hands under her head.
Evelyn Peterson's body is discovered in the backyard under an open window, shot in the back and still clutching her deceased baby. Corporal Richards finds 4-year-old Phyllis under the covers on one of the beds. She's unharmed, and he picks her up and immediately takes her out of the house. Police find boot marks on the kitchen linoleum. They collected the lead bullets from the bodies and were able to figure out that they came from a Remington gun.
So you haven't referenced it yet, but there was 28 bullets shot, and 27 of the 28 all found their mark. Like, he did really well. Like,
well,
I don't know, well is relative, I guess.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a guy that could shoot fucking squirrels.
Yeah, I guess you
from
can't.
trees,
How much he's hunted? Yeah, that's a good point.
And how far away was Evelyn from the farmhouse when she actually got shot? Because I read it says
under the windows.
Under the window, but apparently he got out of the window first, right after her, and then shot. So she was a little ways away. Was able to hit those marks.
But it's also the middle of the night too.
Yeah. Oh, it's it's like early morning. Like the sun's coming up. It's like 6 a.m. or something like that.
Okay.
Because he gets home at 7:30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? I'd say that somewhere. I think I already.
And it's in August, so yeah, it is early. Yeah.
Like it's not like bright.
pitch black.
Not as impressive as I suspected.
The entire community was on high alert. People were scared. They slept with guns at the ready and sometimes in shifts. They thought that any family, any farmhouse could be next until the culprit was captured. Between Tuesday and Friday, all firearms in the area were checked. On that Friday, someone reports to the RCMP that his neighbor has a son who was just released from the mental hospital, and that he's a good hunter.
You see?
Yep. Several police officers headed down the winding highway toward Leask. Just outside the small town, they turned down a country road and onto the Hoffman's farm. The police asked to see Victor's gun. It had a Remington barrel and a Winchester stock. This wasn't anything unusual because pretty much every farmhouse has a gun, especially .22 caliber rifles. They also take Victor's rubber boots and match them to the print at the crime scene. Victor's worried all of Friday night. He keeps thinking about the murders and how he could be going to jail. The boots turn out to be a perfect match to the print on the Petersons' kitchen, and police head back to the Hoffman farm the next day and arrest Victor Hoffman for murder. Victor lied to the police for a little while, but in 15 minutes he broke down and confessed to what had taken place. He stated, "I know I'm sick in the head, but I can never kill again, I know that." Victor Hoffman was tried and found guilty and was put into a mental health clinic in Ontario. And he was there since January 1968.
He ended up dying of cancer in 2004, I believe. Yeah.
And he did get day leave.
He had day leave,
Yeah.
But he wasn't released into the public for... Did he have supervised?
Yes. Definitely supervised.
That's good.
Oh, yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah. But even that was controversial.
Yeah.
Even after that happens and somebody does that, regardless of your mental state, do you ever deserve any semblance of freedom ever again?
I don't think so.
No, I would say not.
So.
I mean, you should probably just rot in a hole until you die.
Yeah. But what do you say about mental illness, though? He can't... He couldn't control himself. They gave him tranquilizers. It wasn't like pills they have nowadays.
No, it wasn't. And that's just another reason, though, because, I mean, if you're born susceptible to mental illness and they have no way to really truly cure you, then you have no right to be out in the public either.
Yeah.
Completely.
It's a shit hand you're dealt.
But intense schizophrenia, yeah.
It's not fair. It's not fair to be a person suffering from that, but
it's not fair to be allowed out to kill more people either.
Exactly.
Greater good dictates you're fucked, stay there.
Yeah.
Unless you cut off a guy's head in a Greyhound bus and eat him,
and then you get out.
Come on out.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, that is truly.
We just keep bringing it up in different episodes.
Well, I think that's one of our biggest miscarriages of justice in the last few decades. It's just, I mean, aside from the fact of obviously if you're wrongly accused of murder, like Milgard.
Yeah.
But
do you want to give a little background to that, the Greyhound thing? Because I'm sure people aren't cluing in on what we're talking about.
Well, what was his name?
100%.
Ken Yun?
Yeah, but now it's completely something different. He changed his name to protect himself now that he's been released.
And essentially, he followed the exact same footsteps as Victor Hoffman.
Yeah.
He suffered from mental illness, schizophrenia, and he stopped taking his medication, probably for some of the same reasons as Victor.
Yeah.
And he ended up on a Greyhound bus next to a kid, and he looked over to the kid and saw something that wasn't human and cut the kid's head off, severed his head, and, from reports, started eating parts of his face. Well,
that's right.
Well, there was a group of onlookers that had run off the bus and
Yeah.
were standing outside as he paced back and forth with this kid's head.
That's the only saving grace, is that he didn't go after anybody else besides just
Yeah.
the one person.
Yeah, so I mean,
What kind of was it a machete he had?
no, I think it was. I don't
just a
think
big
it was a
knife?
machete. I think it was a knife, like a.
And he was just allowed to have that on a Greyhound.
Well,
I mean,
just in
yeah.
his bag, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because they don't do like.
It wasn't like it's not like flying.
No, it's not like TS. It's not like there's like fucking Larry the bus driver standing there patting you down when you come on.
Well, if Larry the bus driver's waiting to pat you down, he's not a bus driver. He's not a bus driver.
That guy doesn't even work for us.
He's doing a great job, though.
Really good.
Put him on the payroll. Look at that big smile he has.
Oh shit!
He is the best at his job.
Even though it's not his job.
Wow. How's that for an ending?
It's a good ending.
Yeah, all right.
But we do need to bring up that the Halloween special is coming
Oh,
up.
that's right. Yeah. Oh, and we should do. Yeah, we should probably talk about all the other stuff. Facebook, Instagram. Follow the podcast at Canada's Crawlspace. Subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud. Share us around.
If you have suggestions of other Canadian crimes, murders, to feel free to put those on as well.
Yeah, send in suggestions. Or we're doing a Halloween special soon with ghost stories around Saskatchewan, personal experiences, and probably...
Or from wherever you are, too.
Yeah.
I'll take any stories.
Yeah, and Canadian, in general. And probably explore some of the more prominent ghost stories throughout Canada as well.
Yeah.
So send those to canadascrawlspace@gmail.com if you have any.
I realized when I texted you that, I put Canada's Crawlspace.
Crawlspace.
You
That
need
would
to
be-
edit everything.
That would be a great seafood chain.
It's Crawlspace.
But we're in Saskatchewan and we're nowhere near them.
No, we got to get it shipped in.
Yeah.
All the craw.
Canada's not great. Canada's great if you're in the Maritimes.
Yeah.
But in
Not a
Saskatchewan, seafood in Saskatchewan is not going to be fresh.
No. Okay. Well, try to stay alive till next time. Anybody else going to say?
Are we going to use the killer?
I was looking at Jesse.